What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Last week in Richmond, we had an incredible sprint finish by Mellow Johnny that took the leaders by force. A brilliant move to go early and the power to cap off the sprint with a victory. Chris Adlington was in second with Jason Stern close behind in third. I went nowhere, getting dropped early on Libby Hill and finishing in 40th. Yet another week of dead legs behind me, hopefully the last of the series. The Park Perimeter Loop in New York is a 6-mile course of entirely rolling terrain, very little flat effort, and almost every bit of the course is a slight incline or decline. The biggest climb of the day coming on Harlem Hill, a long drag with a left-hand turn. This is where weaker riders will be dropped off the pack each round. The final sprint is a quick and steep uphill ramp to the finish, peaking at 9%. Holding on to the pack on this course will be difficult. Today's race recap is assisted by theblackbibs.com. Check these guys out for all of your cycling apparel. In this race, I'm sporting the Adventure Bibs and Pro Summer jersey from the Black Bibs. Comfortable, no labels, and most importantly, affordable for the average dad supporting a family. This is quality kit. Check them out at theblackbibs.com. The start is always brutal, but if you can stay with the group, it will taper a few minutes into the course. With the first ascent of Harlem Hill at only 2 miles into the race, the start is slightly more tame today. Quickly, we get to the first ascent of Harlem Hill. The split has already begun in this race with a group of 25 at the front. I narrowly made the bridge back to the front group on round 1 up this hill with only 2.8 miles in. The split happens very shortly after the peak of the climb, coming down the short descent and right before hitting the false flat and the gradual incline on the other side. The first time through the lap banner, Alexander Semashin smashes the front of the pack and tries to put some stress on the non-dirt riders to chase. Semashin is a very strong rider and consistently at the top of the B category. Our goal for this race as a team is to make the pace fast and very hard for anyone else to hold. We have plenty of riders from dirt cycling in non-GC contention that are willing to sacrifice towards this goal. With the first climbs behind us and a section of flats coming up, Jason Stern calls for more attacks to break the pack and force a split. Rich B moves to the front of a lead group of 25. As we approach the second climb up Harlem Hill, Jason Stern asks for yet another attack up the hill. At this point, I knew that my legs just weren't there. I struggled the first time to hold the group, and so I opted for the sacrificial pull up Harlem Hill. I jumped on the front and put in what I had, which frankly didn't amount to that much. A couple of seconds at 500 watts, and that strung out the group, and fellow dirts took the lead after I dropped off. At 9.2 miles in, Brian Carver and Jason Stern found themselves in a great 4-man break with 5 seconds on the lead group. Carver is the super domestique, and Stern has had great success following his lead and being protected through this series. 1 mile later, and this group of 4 is still at a 5-second gap with 20 or so chasing them. The attacks on Harlem Hill had broken off another 15 riders from the group. Alexander Semashin and Jason Stern somehow found themselves off the front with a small gap and 10.9 miles into the race. Short-lived, but a very exciting break with our GC leader and another strong B racer off the front of the pack. As the group approaches round 3 up Harlem Hill, Jason Stern asks for yet another charge out of our domestiques. We needed to put stress on the leaders and make them do more work to catch up. The pink jerseys moved to the front and the pace increased yet again. Rich B, Semashin, and Tim Spears took the group over the top of Harlem Hill with a group of 4 pink jerseys leading the break. Now, down to the top 15, there are 2 riders from Team Type 1, Matt Corse and Milliken, taking drags hanging off the back of the pack. Corse has a very strong sprint, and if we can't drop him prior to the final, he will be dangerous. The dirt team continues trying to keep the pace high with Brian Carver, Ritger, and my new favorite dirt name, Featherstorm, pushing the pace up the climb. With 1.5 miles to go, the privateers have suddenly taken over the group. A lot of jerseys in this top 15, and most of them not dirt. Only about 4 dirt jerseys in there. There's a lot of big names as well. Ads, Hovel, Matt Corse, Aguayo, and Chris Busick, brother to Dirt's own Tim Busick, all sitting at the front. As the final descent before the finish approaches, Brian Carver leads the group. His job is to smash this pace and to deliver Jason Stern into the final sprint with as much speed as possible. Carver does a great job pulling through the descent, and Alexander Semashin takes the first attack up to the finish line as a lead out. Matt Kors made a huge jump and attacks hard on this uphill sprint, taking the gold medal and top spot on the podium. Jason Stern finishes in second, with Rich B in third and Alexander Semashin in fourth. Chris Adlington rounds out the top 5 with another great finish. Dirt performs well with 3 out of the top 5, but nobody else touches the top 10. As for me, dropped. For the second week in a row in 4 out of the last 6 races. I'm doing something wrong, and I've got to find my legs and recover. I'm not so worried about the MGF series, but mostly for outdoor races that I have coming up. I've got 2 big races and a full summer series of mountain bike riding that I want to excel at. Zwift is the training that I need to prepare myself for these events. On the leaderboard, Jason Stern remains firmly in first place, with Chris Adlington in second and Mellow Johnny in third. It's a tightly contested top 3 that does see Jason Stern with a commanding 70-point lead. Rich B, Paul Buckland, Tim Busick, and Alexander Semashin are also in the top 10 for dirt. Next week, the course heads back to Watopia and the Volcano After Party. This will be a very fun course to race and probably one of the most exciting of the series. With 2 laps of the Watopia flat route prior to a final ascent and sprint finish up the volcano climb, it should be extremely fast. 875 feet over 24 miles doesn't sound very hard, but the final 2 miles includes over 400 feet. It's going to be a fast-paced group ride through the 22 miles of flat section before a massive sprint up the volcano climb. Tune in next week and enjoy the race.